Welcome. Let's just take a moment together, shall we? Let's explore a really profound calling, a path that leads us away from all the conflict and toward a peace that can genuinely transform our hearts and maybe even our world.
It's a question we all face, isn't it? Conflict seems to find us everywhere. It's in the morning traffic, in a tense conversation with someone we love, it's all over the headlines on our phones. It can feel so constant, almost unavoidable. So when you're faced with all that friction and frustration, what's your anchor? Where do you turn for real peace?
Well, in the middle of all that noise and struggle, our faith doesn't just ask us to grin and bear it, or to fight fire with fire. No, it calls us to something radically different, a path that really cuts against the grain of our very human instinct to retaliate. We're called to a different way of being in this world.
And the best part is, this path isn't something we have to invent or figure out on our own. Not at all. We've been given a perfect map, a perfect model to follow. And that foundation for our peace, it's found in the life and the example of Jesus Christ himself.
Let's just sit with this for a second. This powerful teaching comes from the New Testament, from the first epistle of St. Peter, and it speaks right to our hearts. To this you are called. See, that's a personal invitation, a true vocation for each of us. And why? Because Christ suffered for you, leaving you an example. He didn't just tell us how to live, he showed us the way with his very life.
So here's the crucial point. Our journey toward peace is a journey of imitation. It's all about looking at how Christ responded to injustice, to accusation, to suffering, and then trying, with his grace, to do the same in our own lives.
Now, this idea has a name in our tradition, Christ-like pacifism. And it's so important we understand this isn't about being passive or weak. It's the opposite. It is an active choice. It's a deliberate decision in the heat of the moment to imitate Christ's nonviolent response to conflict. And let me tell you, that is a path of incredible strength and courage.
So how do we actually do this in our day-to-day lives? Well, think of it in 3 simple steps. First, when a conflict pops up, we consciously stop and remember the example of Christ. Second, drawing on that memory, we choose a nonviolent response. Maybe it's a soft word or just taking a breath or an act of forgiveness. And third, by making that choice, we follow the path of peace. Remember, choose and follow. It's that straightforward.
Okay, I know what you might be thinking. That all sounds good in theory, but the real test is when things get heated, right? When we feel angry or hurt, how do we actually make that shift? How do we find the strength to choose peace over just reacting?
Thankfully, we are not left on our own to figure this out. We've been given such a powerful and practical tool for the journey, the gift of prayer. And I don't just mean formal prayer, but as an immediate resource we can use anytime, anywhere.
Look at this simple but profound prayer. Let's just say it in our hearts. Jesus, help me follow your way of peace in conflicts. Amen. It's a prayer of humility because it admits we can't do this alone. And it's a prayer of intention, saying we want to follow his way. You can whisper this in a single second, and it can change the entire direction of a moment.
And that's the beautiful truth of it all. You don't need to have this all figured out. You don't need some grand, complicated plan. This profound spiritual journey, this path of peace, it starts with the smallest, most accessible step imaginable, a quiet, sincere prayer for help. It begins right there, in the silence of your own heart.
So as we finish our reflection, I want to leave you with this question to carry into your day. In your family, at your job, out in your community, where will you have the chance to walk this path of peace today? Where can you remember, choose, and follow the example of Christ?